This is Beer in Front, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. I'll talk about some old school beers that maybe you've forgotten about, some new beers that have the potential to be a classic. I'll also talk to various people around the beer world and get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to the November 7th edition, episode 185 of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a proud Odd Pods Media Network member. Last weekend, the Festival of Barrel-Aged Beer was held here in Chicago at the Credit One Arena. This was my first FOBAB, and what a great experience. There were so many great beers to try, plus the award ceremony. FOBAB is a must-visit for anyone who calls themselves a beer enthusiast. You have to go to FOBAB. Thanks to my back flaring up, I had to tap out on the last hour. However, I'm going to be doing this again year after year. The beer in front this week will be the Great Lakes Bourbon Barrel-Aged Christmas Ale. They poured this at the festival, and when I saw it at my liquor store, I didn't have a cart, but I grabbed it.
Hey, this is Russ.
This is Kyle.
This is Michelle.
From the Infectious Groove Podcast. Join us every Monday for the most fun you can have with a music podcast. The Infectious Groove Podcast uses a positive and fun approach as we take time every week to share our jammy jams, then dig into a thought-provoking topic discussing all decades and genres of music. You can find the Infectious Groove Podcast on all major podcast platforms, or you can head to infectiousgroovepodcast.com to find us there and subscribe. We might have a controversial opinion here or there, but we always have fun with it.
Oh, I'm sure I'll say something dumb.
Subscribe to the Infectious Groove Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network.
Couple other things outside of beer. Ruby's birthday was this week, so we went to the Aroma Workshop, and you could make your own perfumes, colognes, body lotions, things like that. That was a lot of fun. And I now have my own signature scent, which is called In the Cart. But if you're in the Chicago area and looking for something to do, I would hit up Aroma Workshop. I thought that was a really fun time. You get to smell all these different scents and then combine the ones you like to make a scent of your own. So if you see me out and about, have a whiff because it's in the cart. Also, my God, she went to this place called the Taste of Heaven and brought some desserts back. If you go there, it's on Clark Street. You got to get the banana pudding. Holy shit, that was probably the best dessert I've ever had. So you got to get you the banana pudding. And, of course, now I have the Southern culture from the Skids song in my head every time I think of this delicious banana pudding. But just a couple other things to do in the Chicago area outside of beer. In beer news, Blake's Hard Cider is merging with Austin East Cider. I only had the Austin once. I thought it was excellent, so hopefully we'll be able to get that here in the Chicagoland area now. Molson Coors is making money. They raised their full-year growth from an estimated gain of 23 to 26% to 32 to 36%. I hope you have stock in Molson Coors. Bell's Brewery is having its annual Eccentric Day on December 1st. This will be the 32nd Eccentric Day, and the Kalamazoo Brewery is teaming up with 5 other Midwestern breweries on some collaborations. These will only be available on tap at Bell's, and some are limited to go at the Bell's General Store. Firestone Walker announced the 27th Anniversary Ale. That's going to come out soon to all of their markets. This will be a blend of 5 different ales aged in bourbon barrels. There was a really cool article on Crafter.com on breweries having game nights such as Mahjong and Bingo to increase local participation, especially with folks who might not visit a brewery tap room. Check out crafter.com. I thought that was a really cool article. Bear Republic is coming out with Racer 7. It's a hazy IPA. It's going to be in that stovepipe 19-ounce can, and this is, I guess, the hazy version of Racer 5. Finally, in Chicago, Revolution and Half Acre are teaming up for On and On Part 3. According to the label that I saw over on My Beer Buzz, this will be a double barrel-aged stout. If it's anything like the past versions, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. As I mentioned in the open, the Festival of Barrel-Aged Beer was held here in Chicago a couple days ago. This was hands down the best festival I've been to. In addition to hundreds of barrel-aged beers to sample, they had the Lager Lounge where you could cleanse your palate, and a hop water lounge featuring Revolution's Super Zero. I thought the event layout was great on the floor of the arena, as well as the concourse, and Goose Island had their train car outside pouring Bourbon County brand stout. Even for the popular breweries, I didn't think the lines were bad at all. Like, I was expecting, and I've been to some other festivals where lines for the popular beers are just hideous. You're going to spend more time in line getting gas at Costco than I did for Best in Show winners, more in Hidden Hand at the festival. So I thought the layout and how they had everything spread out was excellent. Another thing I liked, you didn't see anyone that was hammered or obnoxious. I mentioned earlier, I had to leave an hour early because my back was jacked up. So maybe at the end there were. However, everyone I saw was just enjoying themselves. They were well behaved, just enjoying the festivities and sampling great beer. I really thought that was cool. The Illinois Craft Brewers Guild puts out a great festival like the other ones they do, Beer Under Glass and Friday Night Flights. FOBAB is something you should definitely attend if you're in the Illinois area. A couple of the beers I want to talk about that I really loved. I had one from Ike and Oak. They're in Woodridge, Illinois. They had this coconut macaroon. Wow, is that great? I had one from Superstition Meadery. They're in Prescott, Arizona. They had one that was rye barrel aged that just, I thought was phenomenal. I had to go back and get a second of that. Another one I had to go back for, AleSmith out of San Diego. Their Speedway Stout's phenomenal. But they had a Mexican hot chocolate version. Oh my God, that was just absolutely fantastic. Now, when Ray Stout from the Guild was on the show a couple weeks ago, he mentioned trying things you might not ever do or get a chance to. So I took him up on it, and I had from Distill, they had a dill pickle goza. I thought that was really good. If you follow me on like Instagram and YouTube, I did a quick 45-second review of that. I thought that was excellent. There was also one from Off Color, which was a mezcal aged beer for tacos. That was just killer as well. That won an award, and it was well deserved.
Hey, this is Grab and Brisket Podcast. Join us every Monday where we talk about the latest trends in barbecue, interviews with world top pitmasters, celebrity cooks,
like Wee Man from Jackass,
and musicians.
Like Rich O'Toole?
So check us out. We do beer reviews, barbecue fails.
So many fires.
Dude, a lot of people just burn their houses down for no reason.
We also talk about cocaine hippos versus meth gators,
Learn how to make some tailgate gravy.
altercations with Texas Rangers.
People throwing Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, so check out grabthebrisket.com for podcast info, viral social media posts, and so much more.
All right, the beer in front of me is one that I had at FOBAB, and I liked it so much, I went out and picked up a 4-pack of this. This is the barrel-aged Christmas Ale from Great Lakes Brewing Company out of Cleveland. There was another one that I had, and I talked about it on the beers that I had from Off Color, their mezcal-aged beer for tacos, and I couldn't find that. So I will find that in my travels, and I'll have that on a future episode. But this one from Great Lakes, I really loved. I talk about Great Lakes on the show a lot. I'm just a big fan of that brewery and the beers they put out. I know I've talked about Christmas Ale in the past couple of years. So when I saw at FOBAB that they had a barrel-aged version, I had to try it. Really, really liked it. And then when I saw it on the 4-packs, I had to pick it up. So unlike a lot of barrel-aged beers, this is only 8% alcohol. So it's not your 14, 15% stouts that'll knock you on your rear end. The Christmas Ale, it has spices, honey, and it's always one of my favorite beers around the holiday season. So enough of me rambling on about this, and let's crack open the Great Lakes Barrel-Aged Christmas Ale. Oh, it's a beautiful color, really nice, dark, reddish brown, good couple fingers of foam. I don't get a lot of bourbon notes out of the aroma. I just get the Great Lakes Christmas Ale. Oh, that is so good. You get all of the flavors from the original Christmas Ale. And then you get like the bourbon notes, picking up the back end of it. It's really good. The bourbon notes aren't very strong. You get a little of it at the back end, but I think it's a nice complement to the Christmas Ale. So this is definitely something that I'm going to be picking up every year, or whenever they release it, I'm going to put it in the cart. I think it's that good. You could pick it up everywhere the Great Lakes distributes. I picked it up at my local chain liquor store, Binny's, here in Chicago. It's excellent. So if you see the barrel-aged Christmas Ale, you have to put it in the cart. I mentioned on the show a couple weeks ago when I had Julia Herz on from the American Home Brewers Association, I brewed a beer. I brewed a pale ale, and no fault of anybody but my own, I thought it was good. It was decent, but it was nothing that I would rave about or hand out to people. I'm sure there was something that I did wrong because it's been so long since I brewed a beer. So I'm going to dial in the recipe a little bit more. I know there's a couple things that I know now that I didn't know a couple months ago. So I'm going to have another crack at this. But I thought the pale ale was good. It was decent, but there was something missing there. And I don't know if I kept it too long in the fermenter. I had some issues with my back, physical issues that kind of prohibited me from doing some things. So that probably had something to do with it. But I think I know now what I didn't know then. And the next version of this is going to be a lot better. And I'm going to talk more in detail about that. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. If you need to get a hold of me, you could email me, dave@beerinfront.com, or find me on all the social media channels at Beer in Front. I want to thank again the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild for setting me up with a media pass to go to FOBAB. I had such a great time. I thank you guys so much for hooking me up with this. Whether I get a pass or not, I'm going from now on. So you can find my mug at FOBAB every year. Have a great week, everyone. I will talk to you next week on Beer in Front. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.